Hey guys, it's Destiny, and today we're going to be doing tier list review just to see where changes have been made and just so we can share all of our thoughts on the placements on the list. And I would love to know out of the characters that are confirmed, so for Castorice, Anaxa, Hyacine, and Cipher, which one are you personally the most excited for? I know we just got Castorice's release, so Castorice is definitely an option. And lastly, if you enjoy videos like these, do make sure to subscribe. Leave a like to support the video, and now let's get straight into it. So here we are with the newest tier list. It was updated just a couple of days ago, so we will be able to take a look at the tier list here and just see where the placements are for Memory of Chaos and take little peeks at Pure Fiction and Apocalyptic Shadow for Castorice as well. And as you can see, Castorice is in tier 0 alongside Agalaya, Mighty, and then Herta. And Castorice is 0.5 in Pure Fiction as well as 0.5 in Apocalyptic Shadow. When it comes to Pure Fiction, I have been able to get a 40k score with her, so I could definitely agree with that placement as well. And I believe in the changelog, they're actually mentioning they're going to keep an eye out for Pure Fiction and Apocalyptic Shadow in particular regarding her, if she might actually go to just straight up tier 0 or if she might just remain in 0.5. But when it comes to Memory of Chaos, especially the current Memory of Chaos we have, she just absolutely dominates it. He's easily able to get low cycle clears against Flame Reaver, as that boss is quite easy for her to handle. She's able to get rid of the clones very quickly, especially with her dragon. And also, even if you play Castorice on side 2, she's able to actually get low cycle clears there as well. Castorice has amazing Memory of Chaos potential when it comes to just how much damage she can deal, how frequently she can deal the damage. And I do like the option when it comes to her kit in general in the relation to Netherwing, that you can pick how much of the dragon breath you want to use at a time. In some situations, you may want to just blow up the dragon. In other situations, you might just want to use a little bit of it so you can get more energy for the rest of your characters before you go on to the next wave of enemies. So there's technically multiple ways you can go about playing her, and it basically allows you the choice of how you want to play her and just what's the current situation with the enemies you're fighting. So I do like that aspect of her playstyle quite a lot. And when it comes to just her kit in general, she is able to be nicely used with multiple characters, and also to include, she can nicely be paired with a lot of budget-friendly options, which can include Gallagher, which can include Remembrance Trailblazer. She can technically be paired up very nicely with Ruame as well, which Ruame is technically now free if you get her from the shop using the Golden Spirit Companion item. So you technically can get Ruame for free as well. She can be paired alongside Pela. If you do have Tribi, that's amazing, as Tribi is one of Castorice's best supports. And there's more options, of course, with the supports in particular, but you can also use Castorice alongside other damage dealers as well. For example, Mighty. Mighty has constant changes in his HP due to him being able to drain his HP and then also being able to recover HP. So Mighty having these constant changes in his HP allows him to gain new bud for Castorice, and then when Castorice uses her skill, now she can actually make Mighty lose HP, which results in him getting charged from that as well, to be able to frequently use Godslayer Be God. So Mighty having frequent changes in his HP is really good when it comes to just getting new bud for Castorice, being able to summon Netherwing, and also being able to recover HP for Netherwing when they are on the field. You can also use Castorice alongside Blade. Blade actually went up, holy crap. Him being able to pair alongside Castorice and them being able to get pretty nice results. And Blade is expected to get buffs, I believe, in 3.4 if I'm not mistaken. So I'm really curious how much he might actually end up going up with these buffs in the future. Blade is also a very nice pairing you can consider due to him being able to have constant changes in HP as well. Castorice is going to assist with his follow-up frequency since she is once again able to drain the HP of the team. So that's very beneficial for cases where you might want to pair her with another DPS character that values losing their HP. She is very valuable to just pair alongside them for a very fun dual DPS type of team. So that's an option right there. And then of course with Hyper Carry, she's able to perform very nicely as well. And Castorice's kit just overall works very nicely. When Castorice uses her skill when Netherwing is on the field, she's going to be able to drain 40% of all allies' HP except for Netherwing, which now results in Netherwing being able to gain back a huge chunk of HP from her doing this, which results in you being able to use more instances of Dragon Breath when it is Netherwing's turn again. Netherwing also has an initial speed of 165 So Netherwing will be attacking very frequently. And also Castorice has multiple ways within her kit to self-buff herself, as well as of course self-buffing Netherwing. So her self-buffing capabilities alone allow her to hit pretty hard. And then when you pair that with these supports you have on your account, it assists her even further to be hitting those very high numbers. I've seen so many Castorices hit like over 1 million damage. It's kind of crazy just how much damage she can hit, especially if you have a nicely built team for her. And once again, as I mentioned, a lot of her options are very budget friendly when it comes to Remembrance Trailblazer. I see they've also gone up, which I'll give my opinion on that shortly. Gallagher is a very nice option as well, and a 4-star option that is also currently on her banner. So her banner also allows you to be set up for basically a very budget friendly team for her, since Remembrance Trailblazer is free. Gallagher's on her banner, Payla's also on her banner, but if you do decide to get a free Ruan Mei if you didn't have her already, you can also use Ruan Mei alongside Castorice. And Payla as well as Ruan Mei are nice options in general to consider with Castorice if you do not have Triby. You technically can use Sunday as well. The only thing to keep in mind regarding Sunday and Castorice is that with Sunday's ultimate, from what I've noticed, if the dragon appears and then you use Sunday's ultimate, Castorice and Netherwing will both have Sunday's ultimate buff. The only issue though is that when the dragon disappears, while Castorice may still have Sunday's ultimate buff, when Netherwing gets resummoned, you will have to use Sunday's ultimate again on them, as Netherwing won't resummon with Sunday's ultimate buff. So you can just plan around this and try to tune it, where you are able to hopefully get Sunday's ultimate frequently. And due to this, you might actually want to keep Netherwing on the field a little longer, especially since Sunday is going to be able to advance Castorice as well as Netherwing. And what's really cool about Sunday advancing them forward is that when he does advance forward Castorice and Netherwing, Castorice will attack first, which allows her to use her enhanced skill, and that will allow you to now gain some more HP for Netherwing before Netherwing actually attacks. So you are still able to use these two nicely. You just have to be aware of the ultimate buff in particular, but I have showcased Sunday alongside Castorice and it still is able to get a very nice clear, especially because a lot of his buffs can still be valuable when it comes to the crit rate, the crit damage, damage boosts, and so on. But yeah, overall, I think Castorice can definitely be in this tier 0 slot. I do feel like tier 0 is a little bit bloated right now, but at the same time, I feel like it is a bit understandable because I feel like all of these 3.0 DPSs just dominate when it comes to Memory of Chaos in general. The Herda is still able to get excellent clears. Mighty is also newer. He's able to clear very well in Memory of Chaos as well. Aglaya has insane attacking frequency. She can just deal so many instances of damage. She's very good for the mode as well. And then Castorice, as we just went over, is also a very nice option. I'm kind of curious, do you guys feel like there should be this many characters in tier 0 for the DPS section? Or would you potentially only keep like maybe 3 of them or 2 of them? And if you only would keep like 2 or 3 of them, who would you potentially knock down to, like, for example, 0.5? I would just love to know all of your thoughts on that, if you feel like it's a little too bloated or if you feel like it makes sense for all of these characters to be up here. For our next change, we see Argenti went up, which I would assume is due to Argenti being a very nice option to use alongside the Herda. Argenti is right here in this support DPS section. I cannot highlight today, but the support DPS section. So Argenti is a very nice option alongside the Herda. Pretty cool to see Argenti going up. That's awesome. Remembrance Trailblazer also went up, which completely understandable. They are an amazing free character. They pair very nicely as either an alternative or even one of the best supports for a lot of our recent DPSs. And then also on top of that, just mem support in general, being able to grant an ally the ability to deal true damage onto enemies just allows you to amp up your damage very nicely. So I can completely understand why Remembrance Trailblazer went up. I would highly recommend building them if you haven't already. For Ruan Mei, she did drop, which I did get a couple of comments about this actually in my last tier list, that they believe Ruan Mei should drop, which I'd love to know your thoughts on this. I can kind of understand it because currently she isn't per se, I would say, the best in slot for any of our recent DPS characters, but with Castorice, you could definitely use Ruan Mei alongside her. You can use Ruan Mei alongside Herda and so on. So Ruan Mei still has a very valuable spot on teams, but I would love to know all of your thoughts on this if you feel like Ruan Mei should have dropped down 0.5. And keep in mind, this Apex category is still very, very good. It doesn't mean Ruame is bad by any means. She's still an amazing supportive option for people to be able to utilize. Now for the sustains, Huohuo went up, which is awesome to see. With the release of Herda as well as Aglaya, two characters that have very high ultimate costs. Huohuo has a very nice placement with them, especially in the case of Aglaya, and this is considering an E0 Aglaya, so Huohuo is a very nice option for her, as Huohuo will be able to grant her more energy, which can assist with having better ultimate uptime, be able to take advantage of the joint attacks longer, the stacks that Aglaya as well as the Garment Maker are able to get. You don't have to deal with resetting the stacks, so Huohuo is definitely one of the best sustain options to use alongside Aglaya. And overall, she's just a very nice sustain option when it comes to the energy she's able to provide, her healing, her cleansing, and so on. So I can completely understand why she went up. If we scroll down a bit, so there are a couple of changes, mainly a lot of drops, and I would assume a lot of these drops, for example, the Kafka drop, and then Black Swan drop. I have mentioned this before, I really want them to just bring us a new damage over time character. I just want this playstyle to be higher up than what it is right now. It is a bit unfortunate to see, but we just haven't been getting any damage over time characters that have been able to really amp up the playstyle. So I am personally waiting for the next damage over time character. I very much want them just to see how the playstyle ends up going from that point. But yeah, unfortunately, they did both get dropped. Blade did go up, which we did slightly talk about this. March, Topaz, and Mosa went down. I'm not too sure, honestly, because I feel like March, especially in the case of just like using her on either a follow-up team or even using her as a break character, she still has pretty nice value, especially for being a free 4-star that all of us can get to E6. I don't know if I would have dropped her, especially because she is able to, on dual DPS teams, she is able to provide pretty valuable buffs to an ally. I'm not too sure if I would have dropped her. Little Herda went up, which is pretty cool to see. I would assume once again another placement that went up over time due to the Herda, especially as a support DPS when it comes to the category right here. But yeah, I'm not too sure regarding these three if I would have dropped them, honestly. If I had to guess why they dropped, it's probably because they dropped Fei Xiao, which I'm not too sure if I honestly agree with these two dropping in particular. I can understand it to a degree when it comes to just like the memory of chaoses we have right now are so AoE centric that a lot of these characters up here, they just completely dominate it. But then we use characters that are more single target focused or even to a degree blast focus, and they're not able to unleash enough blast attacks, or maybe in the case of Firefly, for example, let's say you're struggling to break one of the enemies you're facing, then I could potentially see this as problematic when it comes to just like her playstyle overall. I feel like though the Kafka side for Memory of Chaos 12, she should be able to perform well, but maybe I'm completely wrong on that. If any of you guys have used Firefly in the current Memory of Chaos, please let me know like just your results overall, especially on the Kafka side. Because on Flame Reaver, I can kind of understand it, but for Kafka, I feel like Firefly should still be able to do good against her, especially when you fight on Kafka's side. You are fighting Kafka and then those two Pegasus horses next to her. So I feel like Firefly should still be able to perform well there, so I'm not too sure if I would agree with the drop fully. In the case of Fei Xiao technically should be able to handle Kafka as well. So I don't know. I don't know if I fully agree with the drops, at least for right now. Let's say we got another Memory of Chaos and their performance just wasn't that great. Maybe then I would actually agree more with the drop. But for right now, I'm not too sure considering the current Memory of Chaos. But I will acknowledge the fact that it's been very AoE centric lately. I would love to know what you guys think about this in particular. As for Boot Hill, I did read in the changelog, they're actually keeping an eye on Boot Hill because apparently based on their analytics and his performance lately, he's actually been doing pretty good. I would love to see what they might end up doing with Boot Hill. I believe it was noted that Boot Hill might actually go up to Apex once again, so that'd be very interesting to see. I personally love Boot Hill. I think he's very strong, especially if you set him up with the right teams. So love to see what they're going to do with Boot Hill. Two characters I wanted to talk about though on the tier list, which Shui, once again, I still feel like maybe she should be revisited, especially when it comes to the release of Fugue. I feel like I've been seeing this every tier list now. I don't know if Shui is ever going to get looked at, but I feel like she's a little too low for what it's worth. Like tier 4, when she got such a nice pairing with Fugue in particular, I just feel like Shui should be taken a look at it. And then for Yunli, I still feel like Yunli could have stayed in the Apex character category because she's still able to get very nice clears and I've been able to test her out. I tested her out quite a bit. I believe it was the last Memory of Chaos, but she was still able to clear, I believe, with a 2 cycle or so. And then Luocha also has little eyeball, so I wouldn't be surprised if Luocha potentially goes up, maybe because of the fact that he is really good with Castorice as well. Him and Gallagher are just very nice characters to pair alongside Castorice, so Luocha is getting a bit more value. I am really curious to see where Hyacine might influence this, where Hyacine might end up being placed in the future. But I would love to know what you all think. Really curious where Anaxa might be. I love Anaxa. I will also be releasing Anaxa content very soon. Do keep your eye on that if you are interested in Anaxa. Regardless, I think that is enough yapping for today. I hope you all enjoyed the video. If you did, do make sure to subscribe, leave a like to support the video, and I hope to see you all next time. Peace.